everyone. Welcome to another episode of Therapy Talk, where we talk about all things mental health.
Arriving on track 4 is the 2:24
Probably are
p.m.
wondering where I am. You probably guessed it right. I'm on a train station. I'm at the Long Island Railroad Station on my way to Long Island, taking a field trip to interview a very special person in my life as part of my series Faces of Mental Health. So come on and let's hop on this train together.
This station is Woodside. This is the train to Ronkonkoma. The next station is Jamaica.
So actually not a lot of people know this, but I actually lived in Long Island for 6 years. A place where I first lived when I moved to New York from the Philippines. So Long Island has a very special place in my heart, a lot of good memories as well. So it's always nice to go back and visit. So today I'm visiting and talking to a special person in my life who happens to be my cousin. Her name is Valerie, and I'm very excited for all of you to meet her in a little bit. So right now I'm just hanging out here on the train. It'll maybe take me around an hour to get there, so I'm just gonna chill for now, and I'll see you all when I get there. And here we are in Long Island, yay, specifically Wyandanch. Just got off the train. Now I'm headed down to meet my cousin Valerie, who is picking me up, and I see her car. I'm very excited to be back. It's been a few months since I was in Long Island. It's been a while since I've been here in Wyandanch. So we're gonna head over to her home. To our house, maybe around 10 minutes from here, and I'm excited to chat with her, and I'm excited for all of you to meet her. So let's get to know Valerie. And here's my special guest for today, the very beautiful Valerie. Hi! You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's go. Hi everyone, and here we are in this lovely home with my dear cousin Valerie. Hey.
Hi.
Long time no see.
I know, it's been a while.
It's been a while, but a few months?
Yeah, since I'd say September.
Wow, that's been a long time.
Yeah, that's been a long time.
Yeah, we have to change that. We're cousins after all, right?
You don't live very far from me,
I know,
so.
it's just a train ride away.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm glad that you said yes to my invitation.
Yes, of course.
So for those who don't know how this all came about, so as you all know, or some of you know, I started a new series in my YouTube channel called Faces of Mental Health. So my goal is to chat and get to know the mental health journeys of people around New York. And today I'm very lucky to have my dear, brave, and beautiful cousin to talk about her mental health journey. So back in December, I sent out a Facebook post. I posted a Facebook thingy that says, hey, if anyone is interested who want to be featured in my YouTube channel, I wanted to do this video series where I get to know about people's mental health journey, and Valerie was one of the first ones to say yes, and she wants to do it. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am curious though, why did you decide to do it?
I definitely want to be more open with my mental health journey, because it's definitely something that people should be more open to talk about to other people. And I know that I want to have my career shifted towards mental health, so I feel like this is a great way for me to open up about my story, and I love helping people, so yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Any reservations?
About doing this?
Yeah.
Not really.
No?
Nope.
Well, I'm very happy you did it, and like I said, you're very brave, because as some of you know, there's still a lot of stigma around mental health. So my goals for one of my biggest goals for having this web series is to destigmatize mental health. So I believe that by having people on who can share and talk about their mental health journey, like Valerie, that you all can learn a lot from her journey. Maybe you also have your own journeys, and that will help destigmatize the issue of mental health, which is pretty prevalent in our society. So, all right. I never really knew how it all started for you. So this is probably the very first time I'm going to hear it. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So how did it all start for you? What I mean by that is, when did you start to feel that there's something's off, something's not working?
Okay. So I went to school in Penn State back in 2012, and it was really the first time that I've been away from home. This is 5 hours away from my house. And the first year was fine. I didn't feel homesick at all. I was struggling to, do college work instead of high school. With high school, it's like you have a routine, everything's set up for you. In college, it's like, okay, do whatever you want.
Yeah,
like you
more
make
freedom.
your own schedule. So I wasn't used to that freedom. And then I was like, you know what? I didn't do so well my freshman year. It's okay. Like, this is my first time in a new environment. So let me, I'll do better in my second year. So then sophomore year comes around, and I actually ended up switching my major because I didn't want to be a math teacher. I wanted to just be in education, like Board of Education. So my second year in a new major, and I was like, oh, let me take like 300, 400 level classes, that was like a bad mistake.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah. So thinking that I can do it, and I come from a background of me always trying to not get straight A's, but to always do well in school, have a high GPA. I did amazing in high school, so I wanted to keep the momentum going for college. So I put a lot of pressure on myself. So when it was the fall semester of my second year, with taking these high level classes, I was like, this is kind of hard for me. So I started to not do so well in tests. So then in my mind, I was thinking, I have to like study harder, work harder, maybe not hang out with my friends so much.
Yeah.
So that was my interpretation of it. So I just kept doing that. And then all of a sudden, again, still not doing well in classes. And I was just like, what's going on? Like, this isn't like me. This is so uncharacteristic of me to not do well. And then came the symptoms of what I was going through. I didn't feel as motivated to go to classes because I was thinking, well, what's the point if I'm not doing well in my classes?
Yeah.
I'm studying the hardest that I can. What's the point of me doing all the work for me even coming to class or even finishing assignments? So I just didn't like doing my homework. I didn't like going to classes. I just started feeling, depressed in a way.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I didn't feel like getting out of bed. So I'm thinking, this is kind of weird. I've never felt this way before. And then, I don't know if there was other symptoms that were happening around that time, but I was just feeling very moody. I felt like little things would just tick me off in the wrong way.
You're very irritable.
Yes, very irritable.
Impatient maybe.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And then I was just like, you know what? I think someone was talking about depression. I didn't really know anything about mental illness until I started realizing, like, oh my gosh, I have depression. So I started looking it up, and then I was like, wait, I have like all of these symptoms.
All those symptoms, you checked them all off.
It's sort of like someone looking at a website and then they just self-diagnose themselves, which is, you really shouldn't do that, but
yes,
you should not do that.
It's a good way to get some information, and I hear this a lot from my clients doing online tests or assessments. It's informational. It could be helpful, but please don't self-diagnose yourself, or else you're gonna drive yourself,
all over the place.
So always seek mental health professional help. Anyway.
Yeah. So I was freaking out. I was like, I've never had like a mental illness before, and at that time, again, I didn't really hear anything about mental health or mental illnesses, even when I was in high school. So all this was very new to me. I think at the time, I became friends with someone who's involved in a club called Active Minds, and they're there's many chapters of them in all these universities and colleges. I didn't end up joining until years later, but I was like, oh, well, at least there's someone that was like open to me about like her journey through her mental health. I didn't really reach out to her. I was just freaking out. So then I spoke to one of my best friends who lives here, and it was scary. And then I was thinking, okay, what should I do next? So I told my mom, and then I was like, okay, I need to seek professional help. So I spoke to a therapist on campus. A lot of colleges, they do have, you know, counselors. Maybe they don't have a lot depending on how much funding the university has, but at Penn State they have a lot. They have this thing called CAPS. I think it's counseling at Penn State. I think that's what it's called, or counseling, I don't know. But they basically have help.
Okay.
I think they give you like maybe 10 or 20 sessions. I think it's usually like 30 to 45 minutes. I guess it depends.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, let me talk to a therapist and figure this all out.
Now, from the time you started to feel the symptoms to the time you decided to seek help, how long was that?
It really wasn't that long. I think I developed those symptoms around October.
This is 2012, right?
This is actually 2013.
This is now 2013.
Yeah, 2013.
Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to give you a little background before.
Sure.
But yeah, it was October, I think I started like feeling the symptoms, and then I think it was December where I was like, yeah, I'm not doing well in this class. I think I should really seek help. So it was really only about 2 months that I was just being very proactive about it, which was good. And I started seeing her, I think, around springtime, so for spring semester. So then she taught me, okay, well, these are all the thoughts that you're thinking about, and maybe we could find a way to sort of counteract them.
Okay.
So there's like black and white thinking.
Yep.
There's like all or nothing. So
Yes.
if I don't do this, that, and the third, then it's not going to get done. So what's the point?
So for anyone who's wondering, that is what we call the unhelpful, different kinds of unhelpful thinking styles. This is based on the cognitive behavior theory. And you know, in my practice with my clients, I give them a lot of information about the different kinds of unhelpful or negative thinking styles, because when it comes to depression, a lot of it's because of, you know, negative thinking. You know, and this, I'm sure something that you've struggled with as you have started to talk about, you know, with your therapist at that time.
And it was also a matter of figuring out, well, what led you to think that way.
Yeah.
So then we started diving more into, okay, well, you say that you're a hardworking student and that you like getting A's and B's and that you're seeing yourself failing. Well, do you have a fear of failure? And I was like, oh, wow, I do. I don't like getting bad grades, and I always like to study really hard because that was my background.
Yeah.
So I don't know how else to do better in school than to work hard and to succeed. So I think that was another thing that was the driving force of my depression, was you work really hard, and whenever you're failing or you get like 2 or 3 things wrong on a test, you're hard on yourself.
Yeah. It sounds like you put a lot of pressure.
Yes,
on
I do.
yourself, to the point that, like you said, when you started not doing well, you were really hard on yourself, and that's when the negative thoughts came about, and you, I guess, spiraled, and it just all came to a head.
Yeah.
Now, I know at some point you decided to go back home.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit more about that. What was the thinking behind, you know, going back to Long Island from Penn State?
So I feel like a lot of people, when they say that, oh, I was seeking therapy and, you know, I took medication, I'm better now, I'm cured. Yeah, that's not always the case.
Yes.
There's different types of depression. Yeah. So,
and by the way, did they give you a diagnosis back in Penn State?
They just said that I have depression.
Just depression, okay.
Yeah, so which is fine. So then that spring semester I was doing well. And then when the fall semester came in, I don't know what happened, but I ended up having those symptoms back.
Okay.
I know sometimes you might not even have a reason as to why you're feeling depressed. It just happens.
Sometimes there's not a what I call it identifiable trigger.
Yes.
It just comes on.
It just happens. So I felt like it was more of a cycle that just kept going and going, no matter if I was seeking a therapist at Penn State, and then for me being so far away from my family and not having that support system near me, I felt like that was very important. Even though I wasn't homesick, but I felt like maybe I should stay home, because this habit of me just going to school, trying to work hard, and then, my mental health gets in the way of my success at school. I feel like I'm wasting my time and wasting my money. And it was a difficult decision for me to just stay home and to work on my mental health, because I really wanted to get a degree at Penn State. I felt like me going home was like the biggest failure ever. So, but I had to admit to myself, like, listen, like, I think that it's better for me to stay home. I'm very close with my mom. I have family that's in New York that I can rely on, and I can see a therapist. I could take, antidepressants here. At that time, I wasn't even taking antidepressants until I came back home.
What kind of what medications were you on?
I was on, it was a fluoxetine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it was a brand of, I forgot what it was.
I'm forgetting it right now.
Yeah.
Shame on me. I'm a therapist. I should know this.
It's okay, but yeah, that was the prescription I was on. I think at first I was on like 10 milligrams, and then he just boosted me up to 40. But yeah, this was after when I decided to just, leave Penn State. And to me, that was a very difficult decision, because I really needed to work on my health, because your health is way more important than anything else. If you can't take care of yourself, and if you're not healthy, then what's the point of you going to work?
Amen.
Or,
Amen,
anything like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home, and then I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get therapy, and that's what I did.
How was that experience for you to be back home, seeking therapy, and then being on medication? How was that for you?
It was still tough, because again, I felt like I was giving up in a way, like, wow, I'm putting my education on hold. So I ended up getting I was seeking a therapist here. She was super nice. And then we would I think I saw her like every other week.
Okay.
And then since I wasn't going to school, I was like, okay, well, how am I need to do something. I can't just be, just staying at home and doing nothing, just to wait for my next, therapy session. So I was lucky enough to have a job with my mom. So that way I can utilize my time and to just be busy, get out of the house.
Yeah.
Because if you're just lying in your bed and all of your negative thoughts are it's just not healthy.
And it's very easy to be, trapped
Yes.
in that mindset. And as you know, one of the biggest things about depression is that it makes people want to just stay in and isolate themselves.
Yes.
So the challenge really is to get out of that, because once you're in there, you get sucked in, and like you said, all these negative thoughts come in, and then and it's a cycle,
Yes.
You start thinking these thoughts, and you don't want to do anything, and the more you don't do anything, the thoughts come in, and yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying like, hey, go get yourself a full-time job. I'm just saying, like, definitely get yourself out of the house, whether it's, working out. Working out is like the best form of antidepressants.
Yes, it is.
Or just get a part-time job. I wasn't working with my mom like full-time. It was just part-time because they needed help. But yeah, just to get out of the house, get out of those negative habits, so that way you're focusing on something.
Yeah, you're busy, you're productive. Yeah, you're out of the house, like you said.
Yeah. So that definitely helped. And to this day, it's been a couple of years that I've been home, and now I'm like, oh, thank goodness that I made that decision, or else I would be doing the same cycle over and over again.
Yeah.
So now that I'm, I work 2 jobs now.
2 jobs.
I know.
Is it a full-time job and a part-time?
Yeah, a full-time and a part-time.
Okay.
Yes. And thankfully, I'm actually back in school.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay. Online, I'm assuming?
Yes, it's online. I'm doing it through SUNY.
Okay.
It's cheaper. But their team is really, really nice. Like every week I get an email from them. They're like, oh, Motivational Monday. And I think that they're more open about, because they know that there is a reason why you're taking a class online versus you going to the campus.
Yeah.
You know, some of the students are like me, where we work full time, we're parents, so you have to be able to block time to do your homework.
Yeah.
So they understand that, so they're on your side, which is what I like.
What are you studying now?
I'm studying healthcare management.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Because I want to be in the healthcare field, not treating patients, but on the back end.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's that going so far?
It's going well. Yeah, it's going well. It is challenging because, again, I have to manage my time, but I also have to make sure like I'm being aware of what's going on in here with my health. So that is a struggle and it is a challenge, but I feel like this time around versus me years ago, I'm like, you know what? If I believe that I can do this and if I put my mind to it and just plan everything out, then it's going to be done.
Now, are you still going to therapy?
No, not at this time. I'm not. I was seeking this therapist before, and then I guess we switched insurances, and then I was seeking this other person.
Okay.
I'm not at that insurance anymore. So I think a healthier way for you to stop medication or stop seeking therapy is just to check in with yourself, seeing, okay, well, my life is going well. I don't really have anything going on. I feel like with every therapy session, it was just like the same story, like, oh, how's work? How's school? Everything's fine.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's new?
Yeah, and I felt like it was the same thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I think that I'm okay.
And when was that, when you decided, I'm gonna not be in therapy? At least not at this point.
I think it was last year around maybe, I think in the springtime, so like spring of 2019. I was like, you know what, I think I'm okay, but if I need you, like, is it okay if I call you? And she's like, yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah. And I think you already started to allude to the fact that you're also not taking medications anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it really helped me.
Okay.
Even though we increased the dosage, so it was like from 10 milligrams to 40, I felt like it didn't really do anything for me. And then I guess a couple of months when I was in that dosage, I was like, let me try working out. And I feel like working out helped more.
Yeah, it really is. You know, I tell a lot of my clients, physical exercise is definitely a good way of managing depression or, you know, even anxiety. So I'm glad to hear that it's working for you.
Yeah.
So it's been, what, how many months? So it's been at least almost a year since you decided not to be in therapy, not to be on medication. So how's it been for you?
It's definitely interesting because when I was having like really bad depression in college, it was me being a student. I was away from my family. So I felt like I was sort of all on my own, but then I was living the life as a college student. So I didn't really have that many responsibilities. Now that fast forward, I'm 26 and I have 2 jobs. I'm paying my bills, my student loans. I'm in school. So it's like there's more responsibilities. So it doesn't mean that depression can like, oh, you're too busy, so I'm not gonna bother you anymore. No, it could still creep in.
I wish that was the case, right?
I know. I wish it
like
was.
Depression, take a break. You know.
Yeah.
Don't come back. Or
Don't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds to me that it's been almost 7 years since it all started for you. I mean, you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So when you reflect back on how it all started for you and to where you are now, what do you think are maybe the biggest lesson or the biggest lessons you've learned throughout this whole experience for you?
There's a lot. I think definitely to not be hard on yourself. Because even nowadays, I can still be hard on myself, but I have to remind myself, hey, I'm only human. I can only do as much as I can. So if I make mistakes, everyone makes mistakes. We all fail.
Yeah.
Failing to me is not a bad thing. It's a learning lesson. It's a stepping stone towards your goal. you know, people fail all the time.
Yeah.
So definitely like not be hard on yourself and be patient. I think I was just very impatient about just recovering from my depression. I'd be like, whoa, how come, you know, I still have these thoughts and it's been like 5 months? Like, what's going on here? Obviously, it is good to check in with yourself and maybe make certain changes, but don't make a lot of changes to the point where you're like, okay, I don't know what's working out for me.
Yeah.
So I think just giving yourself time and patience.
Speaking of support, who do you think has been the biggest support for you?
Definitely my mom.
Oh.
I'm very, very...
She's actually upstairs right now.
Yeah, she's upstairs right now. My mom's been... She's not only my mom, she's my best friend.
Yeah.
I feel like I could talk to her about anything, and she'll give me advice, but she won't judge me in a way. If ever I need something, she'll be like, okay, well, you know, we'll do something about it. Whereas like therapy, because therapy can be expensive if they don't cover your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times where my mom's like, okay, well, you know, maybe we could split or something like that, because I was also working. So she was just very supportive, like since day one. So it's very important for someone to have that one person, whether it's your therapist or your friend, your parent, to rely on.
Yep.
And someone that isn't judgmental, because they also go through their own stuff too.
Yeah, they do, for sure.
So, and they probably will rely on you as well. And I love helping people, so that's not a big deal for me. But for someone that is always there for you, it's definitely, you know, something that a person should need in their life, a really good support system.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks for helping my dear cousin. So, Val, do you have any message for anyone out there who's probably going through depression or is going through the same things as you did? Anyone going through a mental health illness or journey of their own? What do you want to say to them?
Definitely, I would say the same lesson that I've learned for myself is to just be patient with yourself. You can't really put a time stamp on your treatment. So even if someone is seeking a therapist and is taking medication, they think, okay, well, I think I should be cured in a month. Wouldn't that be the case? Mm-hmm. Not really for many people like me. So just be patient, try out different methods. You know, you can work out, you know, talk to your friends, anything of that matter. So obviously, as an extension of what I said with being patient, also seek out different methods of treatment, because like you said, not everything is the same for every type of person that has depression.
Yeah, what one intervention for some may not necessarily work for the other. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you're not alone.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
Good message, that you're not alone. A lot of you out there are probably going through depression, anxiety, or another kind of mental health journey, and it's important for all of you to know that you're definitely not alone. Well, Valerie, thank you again for agreeing to chat with me today, for having me in your lovely home, and for taking the time today to chat with me.
Of course. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing your mental health journey with everyone out there. I hope that you all learned a lot from this video. Please feel free to share this video to everyone you know. And if you have your own mental health journey that you'd like to talk about and share, please make sure to comment down below. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post your questions as well. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And also, please don't forget, very important, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please give this video a like. All right? So again, Valerie, thank you so much again, and I really appreciate it. And to everyone out there, as I always say at the end of my videos, I hope that you all have a happy mental health day. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yay.